Hello guys,
Hey, fam.
hi Shashi. Yeah, if everybody is there, then we can start. I saw some updates in the notes by Guy Liu,
Yeah,
Wang Ya Liu, sorry.
yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, then why don't you start with, I believe you probably had something to talk about in today's meeting.
Yeah, so the first topic, I think that we have some discussion about we want to upgrade the code builder to Web 1.0, and I already created PR, and I want to have this patch. It's because currently we are using a hack way to. Give me seconds. Let me share my desktop maybe.
Okay.
Let me share my desktop. Yeah, okay. So the first thing that I want to upgrade the code builder to Web 1.0, and the reason that I want to have this patch is because you may see that currently we are using a hack way to update the vendor files named as the auth, error-auth.go. Yeah, currently, if we run the dep ensure, and then we will generate the vendor. But currently, the vendor have a bug because we need to change this file to make sure that it pass the build. And currently, this bug has been fixed in Kubernetes 1.11. So I think that maybe we need to make some updates to the Kubernetes vendor as well. So that's why I want to update the code builder to 1.0, and then we can upgrade the Kubernetes to 1.11 to make sure that we will not need such hackway. Yeah, this is the first thing that I want to discuss. But here we also have one issue here. If we upgrade the Kubernetes to 1.11, and then we will also have some other issues. So you mean that currently in Kubernetes 1.11, there are already in client Go, there are some deprecation for some of the functions. So we also need to update the code a bit. Let me show you some detail. So you mean that the client Go, there are some deprecation about some code. So we also need to update the code a bit, such as we may need to update the JSON iterator. We need to update the Kubernetes parts, the API server parts. So this is just some mock-up code that we need to update. Yeah.
I mean, this seems like an exercise in work without any discernible value at this point. I'm not saying we don't want to upgrade at some point, but like, we don't get any change in functionality.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, yes, we want to do this. Do we need to do it now? It doesn't seem super high priority to me.
Yeah, it's not priority, but because if people make some change of the Go template, and then he will need to run the command dep ensure to generate the code. Every time people need to update this file if we don't upgrade Kubernetes to 1.11. This is
Yeah, but this is a problem that like we've dealt with before. We'll manually fix it until we get something and it'll come down. So it's like it's not like we're broken and we somehow need to go through all this work to get unbroken. The fix is simple. It's a one-line change, and it's already been committed to the tree, which is why we're working. It's not a new problem.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, yes, I mean, I admire your initiative in trying to pursue this, but it seems like it's an awful lot of work for like literally it doesn't change anything in terms of functionality.
Yeah, right. But because I think that the final goal is that we should upgrade Kubernetes to 1.11. So maybe the early we upgrade the code, and I think that we will have less issues in the future. So,
well, eventually, sure, but I mean, none of what we're doing is dependent on Kubernetes 1.11. Like we use the Kubernetes 1.11 code in the form of the API server, which we don't vendor. Like we use it based on what's distributed by Kubernetes upstream. So like a lot of this is like, it made more sense to worry about this back when we were still using API server builder, because we were actually building an API server. But right now it's like we have a controller which really doesn't have any dependencies on Q111 that are particularly important. And we have CRDs, which require Q111, but only in binary form. They don't really render anything that is dependent on 111 at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good to sort of like look forward to doing this, but like in terms of priorities, this is a lot of work for seemingly negligible benefit.
Yeah, right. And I also did some tests. So from here, you mean that if I upgrade the Kubernetes to 1.11, and then if I run the go build, and then we will see that there are some deprecation codes such as the dynamic client pool, those are removed. So we also need to update the Federation util, Federation controller util as well to make sure it can work well with Kubernetes 1.11.
Right. So I guess my point is that this upgrade is not like a simple, let's just change versions. There actually has to be work under the covers. And I don't think that there's no urgency in it happening. Like this is expected. Ivan, I think, even saw the bug on the fact that the existing stuff that the resource client depended on was getting deprecated. But it only becomes a problem if we decide we want to upgrade right now. And like I said, there's no reason to do that right now. We can take our time and fix these problems like in a relaxed whatever. Does that make sense?
Okay, sure.
Let me put it in other words, like we are not discouraging you to work on this, but we are just saying that maybe take it easy on this particular PR as of now, because it's for the benefit it is giving us, it's quite a lot of change, and we'll be more comfortable doing that kind of a change when it is absolutely necessary, or maybe it has more value in terms of upgrading. So just take it easy on this PR. Let it be open. Don't close it, but don't actively work on it as of now.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
And thanks for your initiative.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. And another topic that I want to discuss is currently I was now working with Alex from IBM, and we are planning to write a spec for Federation read and query. And I think that we are going to open the document in next week, and then it will be ready for review. And we hope that we can get some comments from you guys so that we can move forward for this product as well. Yeah.
Okay, we'll we'll have a look as soon as you have something up. Have you already updated the details against the issue, or I am sorry I couldn't have a look at that just before the meeting?
Oh yeah, I think that we already have some discussion in the GitHub issue here, and currently the comments from Mario is that we should have a spec to see like here we have some discussion here. We need to have a spec here to see what is the use case, the motivation, and also who is going to use it, and also why they want to use it, and also some design as well.
Okay.
So we are working on this now. I think that it will be ready for review in next week. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so the last topic is that because currently I found that there are pending some PR, so I'm not sure if we can speed up the process, the review process. I think that now there are some small fixes such as update the user guide or update the deployment script, and also some other, sorry. Yeah. Okay, it's okay, I think.
Yeah, I guess the PRs that you are talking about, like use and join when remove cluster, and the one update user guide already have some comments.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I mean, you can expect a day or two's delay because of different time zones and that kind of stuff. But certainly not more than 2 days of delay would be noticed.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I think this is my part. I think that the priority task for me now is that I need to open this spec as soon so that I can have it reviewing community and move the product federation read query forward. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Thanks for your thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. Apart from this, somebody else has some other topics which they want to talk about or discuss. Last meeting, I think I did mention about each of us individually having a look at the items that we did talk about and prioritize a couple of meetings earlier. I did not see any update against the notes. I mean, that wasn't really expected also, but if you already have seen those and are willing to give a look at that again, then we can discuss them in this meeting.
One question. So, are there any place to trace those topics?
Yeah, see, the point was that those topics are actually captured in these meeting notes. I'll share the screen and go to that. Okay, and why I am requesting this is so that either, I mean, I can have understanding of how to go about creating the issues for them. I don't want to create issues for each and every one of them. That's the whole point. Or also not an umbrella issue against like listing all of them there. So I need some I could say comments or some pointers which can help me create issues against each of these individual items.
Yeah. I found that currently most of the issues only have a topic, but you don't have some detail about how we want to have this implemented. So, are there any discussion about those topics, such as
the goal is
determining
priorities in the absence of implementation details, because
correct.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's driven by use cases, not implementation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that we also had some pointers about IBM's use cases. So would you have any pointers relating to IBM's use cases or the users of users you are looking at or getting requirements from?
Oh, okay, sure. I think that I can append some detail in the meeting minutes later to add some use cases from IBM. Yeah. Currently, I can detect the federation read and the query is one of the important use cases for us, because you may see that in last week, the Google Cloud Next, they announced that they have the on-prem GKE, and they also did a demo for the on-prem GKE to work together with the GKE, and they also create a multi-cluster or multi-cloud, and we can view all the clusters and also view all the workloads from the dashboard, so that they also provide the function like the federation read and the federation query. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, what was the implication of that?
Sorry?
Just the prior art on this, or I missed the point? Just the GKE has a way of providing a view into multiple clusters?
Yeah, from their video, I found that the GKE should have the function of federation read query across multi-clusters.
Yeah. Right.
But
I would expect that's like as a server-side application that's not in Kubernetes. Like it's actually something above that. And thus far, we haven't really thought about user experience beyond, I wouldn't say we haven't thought about it, but I mean, we've kind of been focused on like command line. And maybe this is a juncture where we could consider like, is that the only way that we want to present federation functionality? Do we want to consider providing some sort of user experience beyond CLI?
Yeah, currently, I'm planning to do is that we want to provide some function using the kube control command can get all the resources cross clusters. Yeah.
Right. I guess my suggestion would be is there's a huge difference between like a server-side application that doesn't use kubectl versus one that simply uses kubectl. Because kubectl implies that it's entirely served by the Kubernetes API.
Yeah.
But if I have a web application that is querying clusters in the back, that's a totally different implementation. And so far, we've been really focused on the first one, where we're just implementing via the Kubernetes API. And to be honest, that is restrictive. I'm not saying that we don't want to continue doing that, but I think it might be worth considering the cost of pursuing that strategy to the exclusion of all other options.
Yeah. Okay.
Does anybody have any thoughts on that issue?
My own personal feeling on this is that there's a very strong energetic barrier that would have to be overcome before for people to use parts of an experience that were not part of what they're normally used to working with. So like, I guess it would kind of depend on what specifically, like what type of component we'd be talking about. It's hard to say, without a specific example to look at,
I mean,
I won't write it off. I'm just saying it depends a lot on the specifics.
Yeah, I guess I agree. I'm just having looked at some of the proposals for implementing like read access across clusters via an API. I'm not sure that, I think that there's going to be compromises no matter what. And I think we haven't really been considering like, what are the trade-offs versus alternatives? We've just been saying, well, this is what we have to do. And I don't know that restricting ourselves to just thinking about one way of doing it is going to be particularly constructive. I'm not saying we don't go and choose the API way anyway, but why wouldn't we at least want to consider what the alternatives are before choosing one?
I'm not sure that I understand what alternatives well, let me back up a step. So can we like use an example of like a use case or part of the experience to like have the discussion about? Because it's hard for me to know necessarily if we're talking about the same thing.
Maybe we're in danger of rat holing on this, and
could be
something that could be discussed in the document. Because going into specifics, like over a call without any prepared material, just seems like, I don't know that there's going to be, like it's going to be a particularly effective way to communicate the details.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe you and I can have a chat offline and we can explore this a little further. How does that sound?
Sure. And I mean, and in the context of community, I mean, we'll hopefully have a place to converse about this in the document that will be posted as early as next week.
Yeah.
So is it something parallel to what Wangya would be listing out? Like he also mentions that he'll have something ready by next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. My suggestion was that when that document gets posted, we can maybe consider alternatives to.
Sorry. So. Yeah. So,
okay, so let's reserve a time next week. Say half of this meeting for this particular discussion. Seems fine.
Yeah, that would be good.
Well, I just wanted to make a suggestion. I mean, if I don't want somebody to spend a lot of time and effort writing up a complicated document if others have perhaps already decided they're going to shoot it down. So I think it's useful to I mean, if you have alternatives that you're suggesting, I mean, I'm not sure that I agree as much with Paul. I don't think we need too much detail. Are you talking about a graphical user interface? Are you talking about a command line tool? We can certainly delve into more detail on those, but I don't want to have lots of people writing up lots of alternatives without even mentioning what they might look like roughly, so that we could at least see whether it's worth the effort.
I think my consideration is shoehorning like a web application into the Kubernetes API doesn't necessarily seem to make a huge amount of sense to me. So if I wanted to query across multiple clusters, a mechanism to do that doesn't necessarily have to be based on the Kubernetes API. That's my suggestion.
Okay, that I totally understand, and I agree with.
So that, yeah. So, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so currently my thinking that perhaps in my document, I will propose some different solutions, and I think that we can review and then make some decision to decide which option is better. Yeah.
And maybe to Quentin's point, if you would focus on like proposing solutions at a high level and not necessarily going too deep in implementation until we have some consensus on sort of what approach we'd like to take.
Well, I think it would actually be useful to explore at least the surface area of, you know, if we, I mean, this has been a question that's been sort of plaguing this project since the beginning, is if we provide a Kubernetes API, then it has a bunch of upsides, which is like other tools, existing tools work with it, you get free GUIs and a whole bunch of other things, but you then, you know, kind of shoehorn yourself into an API that wasn't designed to do multi-clusters. And if, on the other hand, you provide a multi-cluster specific API, then you're immediately incompatible with all of everybody's understanding of Kubernetes and all the tools. And weighing up, you know, the pros and cons of those approaches is kind of useful. And we've tried both in the past. And so I think considering those two upfront, if Gang has the time to do that, would be useful. And if you guys want to perhaps propose a detailed alternative to the Kubernetes API, that would also be useful.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Maru?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay, so moving ahead. Yeah, apart from this, I don't know if we have anything on today's agenda. Does anybody else have any points to talk?
I was just wondering what the status was. Was it 3 or 4 weeks ago? Maybe or 3 weeks ago, we prioritized the next set of work items. Is that stuff being actively worked on at the moment, or is it stalled? What is the status?
Yeah, so that's what I actually wanted to talk about, which hasn't sort of concluded. What I want to do is, these are the items that we listed, and we gave some rough priorities to them. But I could figure out that majority of the items did not get both the major stakeholders' names. So if you see here, many of the items have Huawei only listed against here. So what I wanted to do was get some indication from Red Hat also as their most priority items and the real priority on them, and maybe go ahead creating issues with respect to the number of people that we have currently working, say 5 or 6, and then move ahead. For us, we were already working on these, like these were pending. So this is what I am working on, which is job scheduling, XPA scheduling. And what I currently was doing, I figured out that good amount of code could be reused in the other scheduler. So I was refactoring a little bit, which is complete. So I'll be raising a PR for that probably today or tomorrow. Shashi was in the process of completing the DNS related stuff, which, as per our earlier discussions, uh,
Yeah.
we were moving into, or we were changing to reuse, or you can say use the multi-cluster, not multi-cluster, the external DNS uh, functionality.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me give that update.
Hmm.
So yeah, currently I'm almost done utilizing the external DNS to make it work for our scenario for like cross cluster service discovery. And I'm working on the way like in external DNS to make this feature happen. Like there's been some implementation details there. So hopefully we should be like from the Federation V2 repo perspective. I think the features are complete. I think I raised a PR, so I'll work on review comments if any, and then let's see. And then external DNS once that lands in, I think we should be overall as a feature. That feature should be available. So and I think we should move on to release next alpha release you, with this feature. So that's the current plan right now.
So the thing we're missing, Irfan, if I can paraphrase you, so there are two XX Red Hats in that list, and both of them, I believe, have comments saying Red Hat is interested here. So all you're really wanting is a number there. But it seems fairly clear that federated status.
This is already being worked on, like as you could have seen as per the update. But what I was concerned about is that we did list a couple of other items, like many other items over here. So what I am looking for is, does it make sense for us to make issues for all of them and list them against our repo? And maybe, I don't know when they are going to get picked or that kind of stuff. Or we can realistically have, say, a short list of items which we say we'll be anyways focusing for next alpha or next to next alpha, something like that. But I'm not able to get clear signals from the work group.
So I think it would be good if we had issues to represent all of these, because that is a good, that's probably the most visible way that people can see that there's some interest in doing them. So I would definitely be supportive of like having issues to represent these in GitHub, so that if folks are looking at the project and going through open issues, that they can see there's some degree of interest, maybe even if people aren't actively working on them, and identify, hey, I'd like to work on that.
Okay, that seems logical. So I'll go ahead and create issues against, even if they are like one-liner descriptions, not detailing about, I mean, without a lot of details. I'll go ahead and create the issues for them.
So a point that I raised last week is that it sounds like Huawei has pretty clear direction in terms of what they want to implement. I think Red Hat is a little bit less clear. And in my mind, we're really hoping to get feedback from a wider audience of stakeholders, sort of as a prelude to committing major effort to any one thing. I mean, smaller stuff, fine, but if it's like, oh, we're going to go spend like weeks to a month implementing something, it would be really nice to know this is actually a priority for our customers or members of the community outside of Huawei. And that's not suggesting that you don't have good reasons for implementing what you want to implement, but in the absence evidence that it's more than just you, it's hard to say, yes, this is absolutely something we need to do. Does that make sense? I guess my focus last week was like, Red Hat is going to focus on finding external customers, and also we got to get that blog post on a Kubernetes blog, just to engage a wider audience rather than just trying to rush to beta without getting a lot of feedback.
I'll just echo Maru's comments that like I think it's really important to get validation from users, since this is a fairly significant departure from V1 in terms of the API constructions. I am really interested in talking to folks in the community that may have tried Federation V2. I'm kind of curious to know if folks had any thoughts about like, is there a way that we can kind of shake the tree and see if anybody that's tried Federation V2 out falls out of the tree and is willing to talk to us about it? Have folks thought about that?
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I did the presentation at the community meeting. There was quite a bit of interest, but nobody has actually stepped forward and offered that information yet. But I think we'll just have to, we need to post blog posts, maybe make a video, demo, these kind of things, and distribute them more widely.
Yeah, I'm thinking about stuff like how can we raise visibility into the fact that there's something new out there, like on social media, for example, to try to get folks that might say, hey, I didn't realize that thing existed, but it might solve a problem for me. I want to try it out and use it.
Yeah, we put a list of those things together a few weeks ago. I don't know if anyone's done anything with them. We were going to post to Kubernetes Dev.
Yeah, I did that. We also talked about a blog post, but I haven't started working on that yet. And I'm not sure that we necessarily had folks raise their hands on being really eager to work on a Kubernetes blog post, but I'd need to go back through the notes.
Did anybody respond to those emails that you sent to the mailing list?
No, I don't believe I got any responses to the thread on Kubernetes Dev.
Paul, you did post then to the SIG multi-cluster group and Kubernetes Dev both? Or
yep.
Only? Okay.
Yeah, to both.
I remember seeing the mail for sure. I also didn't see any responses. Okay, let's hope that blog post might get some good reads and all.
Does anybody know who to talk to get a blog post made on the Kubernetes blog?
I would guess it's contributor experience, SIG contributor experience. So reach out to those guys and they should be able to help.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it from my side. Like, I don't have anything else. Other folks?
EOF from me.
Yep.
I'm good.
Okay, then. See you guys in the next week. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.